Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan and I'm here with Basil to react and give our player ratings for the Everton defeat against Man City. David, first and foremost, it's been a little while since the game. Have you cooled down yet, or are you still extremely deflated and feeling a little bit upset about obviously that game? Another year without a trophy. By the sounds of it.
Still the same as before, really. I think when that first goal went in, I was a little bit surprised. I think it just took me, I was a bit shocked, really. I don't think I really come to terms with it still, but we're out, so it's gonna sink in, I think, very soon. But I'm not happy. Not happy.
I mean, I've been reading some of the comments and some of the things on social media and just saying that Everton are shit and it's another year without a trophy and it's a missed opportunity. Shouldn't have played 5 at the back. Should have had a go. Should have done something different. But you saw kind of in the last few minutes when we actually did try and, take it to City, we got carved open. And I think our hands were tied, weren't they? And we had to do what we had, we had to do what we did, which was play for set pieces, for counter-attacks, and worst case scenario or best case scenario, try and get penalties.
I mean, that's the extreme gung-ho, isn't it? It's sort of Leeds style. We're going to really just try and chase them, try and score. But we were desperate for a goal at that point, and we didn't really know what to do with it because we've been defending the whole game. We couldn't really get out at all. But, I think our best setup was what we did today. It's just, it is disappointing. I know where fans are coming from when they said we're shit, because we really didn't have more than 5 minutes where we looked like we were going to score. It was little moments rather than periods in the game where we had any sort of control. So I can see why they'd be disappointed and feel like we didn't give it a go. But the players did put effort in, to protect that lead for 84 minutes. So really difficult one, isn't it?
It felt like they were trying to protect the lead we didn't have. I know what you mean.
It felt like we were trying to protect something that we had. But ultimately, if we got to the end, we would have realised that we had won the game. So I don't know what we would have thought at the end of it.
Close as a pans. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. I don't think either side really did an awful lot in the first half. And in the second, it was just those couple of key moments, the Virginia save and then the goal, which goes off the crossbar and straight to...
The more I think about it now, all I can think of now is we were a bit unlucky because, it is a piece of luck that creates their goal, and that was the difference ultimately.
I mean, just going to the stats, possession 26% for Everton at home.
Yeah,
as I said before in the match reaction, if they're playing for their international teams, they're not like that. Do you know what I mean? Shots 10. We had 10 shots on target. No, we had 10 shots, only 2 on target though. 4 corners. It doesn't make particularly good reading.
Yeah, we didn't create enough, did we? The game plan was just to hang on as close as possible to penalties, and if we could possibly nick a goal, we would. And it just didn't look like we were going to be able to nick one in the second half, and it just looked like, oh, we're going to hang on to extra time, and then if we can get through extra time, we'll have a go at penalties. And it just wasn't to be, was it? We just fell a little bit short.
At one point, I did think it was going to go to pens. Before De Bruyne came on, I thought this is going to pens.
Yeah, well, look at the team you're playing against. I mean, those fans who are saying we should have gone at it, they have so much quality in their team, their ability to pass the ball through the lines with tempo, and they have players who are good in one-on-one situations. So
they make the pitch so big.
I think this is why we had to play so compact, and so they
make the pitch so big.
We can't leave ourselves sort of isolated 1v1. You imagine leaving Mina obviously isolated versus Sterling, like every time Man City got the ball. We were bound to concede playing like that. So we had to play that sort of, low block football.
Comments, Andrew Mabs, fair play, they put a shift in. Yeah, they did, but we didn't do an awful lot. We kind of lost without really laying a glove on them. And the thing with City is I don't think they'd have liked all these crosses and balls into the box. We tried, but it wasn't enough. Steve, we shouldn't have to hang on for pens. We needed to field our strongest team, but to bring Iwobi on really inspired me. Okay, I thought you hate Iwobi. Not, but we done okay for what we had available to us. I think the team, if you look at the bench, it says it all. Really, we didn't really have many options, and he played the players we had available, and hoped rather than expected us to do something.
If the luck goes against you, I mean, what can you do? Because if we could be in this situation in 1 year's time where we have 3 more quality players in the side, and a piece of luck like that goes against us again, and you lose the game, City are not going to just become a bad side in the next year or two. So we're always going to have to face them. So we have to prepare better how we're going to eventually we're going to have to beat them in one of these cups to win it.
We are years off City. This is Steve's ratings. We're obviously going to give you ours in a minute. It's not going to be a long video. Obviously, it's quite late. Virginia 7, Coleman 6, Mina 7, Godfrey 8, Holgate 6, Allen 6, Gomez 8, Sigurdsson 6, Digne 5, DCL 7, Richie 7. Why have you given Dean a 5, Steve? Okay, the Iwobi comment was thought so. Right. give you my ratings. Actually, should we do the player and then we'll both give our ratings? Starting with the goalkeeper, Virginia, 31. Thought he was brilliant for someone coming in, making his Goodison debut. Was it his Goodison debut?
No,
wasn't as good as in debut, was it? Making his full debut. Made his full debut. I thought he did really well. The Sterling save was phenomenal, and the one tipped onto the bar was excellent. Someone should be there defending and helping him out there. So I'm giving Virginia an 8.5.
Okay.
And this is where you come in and say what you think.
Well, I would concur with the saves were excellent. His kicking was fairly good. So I'm going to give him a 7.5.
Okay, and then Dean, he played left wing back. Didn't do an awful lot wrong, but he didn't do much, did he? He didn't have his best game. Some decent crosses, some decent corners, but looked slow and
seemed to be really difficult for him. I think he needs an extra player to link up with. Since Richarlison's kind of gone to that striking position the last 3-4 games, it just so happens that it's what Steve's saying about since he signed the contract, he's been shite. But since he signed the contract,
we've no one in front of him to link up.
Been playing with no one in front of him, so he's had no one to really build up with and run onto balls to cross the ball in. So he didn't really have much chances, did he? I think he could have done slightly better with his corners because they didn't seem to come off. A few of them were too short or too long. So I would have liked to have seen him be a bit better off set pieces because they were vital for us scoring a goal.
I'm giving Dean. I'm actually giving him a 6 because overall he didn't really make any mistakes and defensively was solid. He just couldn't get forward because there wasn't really a link up, was there?
I'm going to give him a 6 as well because he was just penned back, wasn't he, to the 5 at the back. It was just the nature of the game, and he wasn't poor. He just didn't really get a chance to do something.
Right, Godfrey, left centre back. I'm giving him an 8.5 as well because I thought he was outstanding. He did everything he needed to do. Maybe you could be critical about the first goal where he was a little bit slow to react to it. Maybe that knocks him down to an 8. But I thought his performance, he was faster than every Man City player, stronger than every Man City player. Read the game fantastically. Yeah, so I think he was really good, Godfrey.
Yeah, if I isolate Godfrey on his own, he gets a good rating for me. I think he's going to get my highest rating. I'm actually going to give him. Well, I'm going to give him an 8.5. I'm not sure he was at fault for the first goal. I think he was
copying me.
Well, I feel like an 8 would be a little bit harsh because he didn't really put his foot wrong. But a 9 feels like a little bit of a stretch considering we lost 2-0. So I'm giving him an 8.5. I don't think he was at fault for the goal. I think he was ruthless. His tackles were a joy to see. His pace. I just like watching him just mop up. So yeah, he's a real asset for our side, isn't he?
Keep the comments coming in. We are going to get to them at the end, or as soon as they are appropriate too. Mina, Dave, if you've got echoing, can you sort that? I mean, is there someone in the room with you watching the video? No, seems to be echoing back. Mina, he was rock solid. He headed everything away, kicked everything away. He was in the right place. He dealt with the Man City players well. Gets into a bit of a tussle with Jesus, doesn't he? Quite a lot. But the second goal, what's he doing? He should play to the whistle. Yeah, I'm gonna give Mina a 7 because I think it would be hard to knock him. But maybe, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that's too much? As I say, we did lose 2-0, and the second goal he's caught in the no man's land.
Yeah, I don't want to copy you, but I'm going to give him a 7 as well because, you know, he was one of our better performers overall. So he was fairly good defensively. You know, he read the danger, he cut things out. He was fine in terms of his possession play. Didn't give anything away. So he was okay. He had a probably slightly above average performance, and I think we've missed him in recent weeks. It was good to see him back in there. And I think Godfrey and Holgate having a bit more speed either side of him was an asset really to help him do his job.
Wonder why Keane was dropped. I mean, obviously he doesn't really fit into that right centre back system where he has to get dragged out. So it's probably why he wasn't playing.
I think
maybe a bit of a confidence knock as well because
I think it could have been the England.
Dave, Holgate. I mean, he doesn't really do an awful lot, does he? And he doesn't seem to be switched on in the same way some of the other players were. But again, I can't really fault him too much, and I have to give him a 6.
Yeah, you don't have to let me do the ratings first in a minute
because
I'm going to give him
I
a
know
6.
what you're going to give me a 6.
Because he wasn't as good as Mina. He had a decent game. He nearly gave away a penalty for something. Well, he got a foot on the ball, but it was such a rash sort of lunge in, and it really was quite unnecessary in the corner of the box when he was not going to score from there. So but he was aggressive. He was quick in the tackle. He got to his man fast. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 6.
Go on, you do Coleman then, because I think we're going to be quite in agreement on everything here, really.
Well, Coleman, I'm going to give. Well, if I gave Dean a 5, I'm going to have to give. Did I give Dean a 5? I think I gave Dean a 6. I'm going to have to give Coleman a 6 then, because they were about the same. He didn't really do anything, but he was solid enough defensively, tracked his runner, just struggled to get up the pitch and get anywhere, really. I'm just going to give him a 6. Might be slightly generous.
It's almost like the wing backs are there for the defending, and there wasn't anything going forward. More width and I don't know. Need a good what is it? Euphemism, something or other. We need a good.
What?
We need another word for it. Is it when you say it's as good as a? No, I'll just stop speaking. But there's no width. There's more width in a. Finish this sentence. More width in a.
More width in a.
Anything.
In a stretch limo.
Yeah. That's what we're looking for. You know what I mean? There's just no width in this team.
Yeah, but our width was like a stretch limo. It was just flat, just one line,
like a pencil
on the back, and it couldn't get forward. It couldn't.
That's so higgledy. We need wingers so bad. In the midfield, then there's no subs today, so it's Sigurdsson who's kind of playing like in the midfield 3, but then he was the trigger to press and join up with the front 3. More width than the cow's midge. Also, Martin, we know you're watching, mate. We're going to pick up on your comments when we get to Richarlison. Don't worry. Sigurdsson, Dave.
I'm going to give Sigurdsson a 6.5 because it wasn't his normal game to sit in the middle.
Do anything.
Look, he did the same as Coleman and Dean. He tracked his runners. He got about the pitch. He was playing in arguably the most important place in the pitch in that one of the 3 central midfield spots where the game was going to be sort of won and lost. And he did his job. So
he was anonymous.
I'm not going to be a hater today.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not being a hater, but he didn't do anything going forward. Didn't create.
I know he didn't do anything going forward, but
shite.
I'm going to give him the rating on what the position that he looked like he was trying to play. I'm not giving him it based on being an attacking player because he wasn't played in his cam role today.
Maybe I need to abstain from this. I mean, it's harsh to give him less than a 6, and because you would think about the defensive contribution, but I'm going to stick with the 6. I'm going to do the next two. Alan and Andre Gomez. David, turn your speaker down a little bit. I think it's coming straight back through your mic, or lift your microphone towards you. Yeah, Gomez. Defensively, he was winning the ball quite a lot. He was nipping in there and picking up the ball. And he popped it off quite well. He looked big and strong. So I'm quite happy with his performance. I think it was one of his better performances, and I'm going to give him a 7. Whereas with Alan, yeah, he just looks a little bit slow, and he dives in and he's a bit rash, and he always looks like he's going to get a booking or another booking. So I'm only giving him a 6. But then you'll say to me, we were great defensively for 83 minutes, and he wasn't at fault for the goal. But then he's meant to be covering that midfield, isn't he? Where Laporte's just run through. So
he wasn't there for the goal.
I'm going to give. Can only give him a 6. But
yeah.
I know a lot of people in the comments are going to be saying, Ryan, what the fuck, mate? You know, we lost 2-0. We didn't do anything, giving them all 5s and 4s. It's really difficult to do that, I think.
No, because that was last week when we played rubbish and lost 2-1. This week we actually played, they actually fought. They actually looked like they were wanting to win the game. I know
we didn't look like a quality football team.
But we're not a quality football team yet. So we are what we are. Alan, I'm going to give him a 6 because I don't know, he looks like he's slightly off the pace. I know he's a good player and I do like him, but I think out of the signings we've made, I know he got a lot of attention, but I think I actually prefer Decore for his energy.
Same.
I feel more confident with him there. He's physical, he's strong, and he has pace. So yeah, but Alan, I'm going to give him a 6 as well today. But he did his job. Okay. I think he's not full fitness. I think he got turned too easily a couple of times and then he gets caught the wrong side. I think after the international break, and he said it himself that he wasn't quite ready and he was going to use the international break. So let's be patient, and I think we'll see a better side to him very soon. Gomez, I'm going to give him an 8 because I just wish he'd turn up like that every single week because, he looks strong and physical. He tracked Bernardo Silva, which was obviously his job. Didn't really let him get much. He put tackles in. When he got the ball, he looked for a pass forward. He dribbled into space and got us up the pitch. I think it was a good performance from him today for once.
Jonathan Ruskin, because it's quite relevant to this at the moment. We're quality based on history, community, and the fan base. The football will come soon. Well, I bloody hope so, because that's why we're here. Not bothered about really any of the other stuff, if I'm being honest. I want us to win something. So we're going to move on to the front two. I'm going to start with Richarlison, because if Martin's still watching, he's itching and waiting for us to pick up on his comment. He says, another inept Richarlison performance, far too hot and cold, more cold, sadly. I think he tried and he just got into those positions when he had the opportunity to shoot or play the pass and kind of fluffed at it or hit it wide. He made himself a bit of a nuisance, but there wasn't much quality at the end of it. He also follows up, actually, Martin, dare I ask, should we cash in because he's hot and cold? No, I don't think so. But it's difficult.
It's an interesting one on should we cash in. I'm sure we'll talk about this towards the end of the season and transfer windows, but actually, I think maybe we should, because I'm going to be controversial and say that, is he better than Calvert-Lewin up front? And the answer is probably no. And do we long-term want to play with this system of having the two up front and no wingers? And I think that'll be a no eventually.
Dave,
so unless
if we stick 2 wingers in this team and 2 midfielders who can run, we'd score a lot and we'd be rock solid.
If we exchange for Richarlison for a top winger,
he won't score as many as Richarlison.
He hasn't scored that many goals this season.
He's in double figures.
Yeah, recently he's been in better form, hasn't he? But as he said, it's he just huffed and puffed, didn't he, tonight? I mean, he tried his best, and you could see at the end of the game when his head dropped to the floor, and you could see he wasn't happy because he'd worked hard. He chased and hurried. But what can he do? What can him and Calvert-Lewin do when they're sort of isolated? I know they're strong and physical, but when the ball comes into them and there's 4 City players around them, what can he do?
Baz, Steve agrees with you. I
Yeah.
mean, let us know what you think. I mean, he couldn't do much, so it's really harsh to give him a high rating. I mean, a low rating, and then it's a systematic thing, isn't it? Really, today, if the system's right and everyone's like full throttle, he's going to have a much better performance. But it's limitation. I thought he got back and defended quite well, so I'm going to give him a 6.
He
Didn't
did his
do much
job, but
going
the
forward.
disappointment. I mean, you think about moments in the game. There was one in the second half, probably our only chance, really, where
That pod again.
where the ball fell to him, I think, off a set piece on the edge of the box, and he just fluffed it out wide. That is a chance for us in that game.
Yeah,
He's
he
got
had
to be doing better.
opportunities. So do you give him a 5 then? Do you knock him down a bit?
No, I can't give him less than a 6 just because of his work rate and his job for the team. But it's a disappointment looking back and thinking about a couple of chances.
I think we have to knock a point off of all the players because we lost.
You can do what you want. The game's done now and we're out of the cup. You can give them a 2, but it's not going to change anything.
I think for losing, we have to knock a point off.
You can rate them up to 84 minutes and then rate them after. My rating for them between 84 minutes and 93 minutes would be extremely different. But
yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm getting swayed one way, the 84 minutes, and thinking, oh yeah, in the 84 minutes he did this and this and he was quite good, blah blah blah. And then in those last 7 or 8 minutes, and I'm thinking, you're losing points. We've only got one more player, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, similar, isn't it, to Richarlison? Look, he's developed, and when the ball comes into him, he doesn't often lose it. Even if he's in a tight spot, he can wiggle out, and that's really important when you're playing against such a team where you don't have many players up front, and you need him to bring the ball into play and hold it up. So he did that pretty well, but he had very limited opportunities, didn't he? I think there was a cross, wasn't there, from Richarlison in the first half, an in-swinging cross, and he just overhit that. If Richarlison doesn't overhit it, he's got a free header there. So
there's a few nearly moments,
isn't it?
Yeah. Nearly moments. He held the ball up well. There's no runners. There's no support. I mean,
we had to play a perfect game, didn't we, to win? And we were perfect defensively up to 84 minutes, but we weren't perfect going forward, were we?
You know what? I think we were waiting for the moment. We were waiting for a moment to counter and to punish and to try and do something, and it didn't come. It just didn't come. It was always a nearly moment.
No.
He made himself a nuisance. I don't know what to rate Calvert-Lewin.
I'm giving him a 6.
Yeah.
Because, well, I think we discussed it. Iwobi's the other player that came on the pitch. They had one sub on 87 minutes.
John's giving him a 10 out of 1,000,000. A 0 from Steve. Another comment from Steve.
It's difficult to rate Iwobi, isn't it? Because he was only on the pitch. And it would be unfair to rate him, but I'm going to rate him.
He gave the ball away, didn't he? I remember he gave it.
I'm going to rate him a 4.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm going to rate him a 3 because, I know it's a bit unfair because he only had
been on for 4 minutes.
But he gave the ball away straight away when we were on the attack. He dribbled inside and gave it back to Man City. He's meant to come on and look like he can dribble past a man or get a quality ball over. He just was worse than the players we had on the pitch.
We need to sell Iwobi and buy 2 wingers this summer and a right back.
Who's going to buy Iwobi?
Cover in midfield as well. And maybe a forward if Moise Kean goes and King doesn't sign. So it's a lot of players. And realistically, I only think we're going to sign 2 or 3. And I think it'll be a right back, 1 winger, and another forward to replace King. Just to wrap things up, this comment from Steve: we need midfielders to push on to support the front 2 like Cahill and Arteta done. That's a good point, but remember, we played with 1 striker then. And the fullbacks were kind of, 1 would sit and 1 would go. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm tired now.
It's deflating, isn't it? It sucks the energy out of you.
Drawing it out. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If you stuck through us, if you've been watching both our videos and you've stuck through, then thank you very much. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and we'll be with you probably midweek for the Everton show, the Everton Voice. So if you've got any comments, for us, send them our way, and we'll. In terms of topics, you can tell I'm extremely tired now. I can't get my words out. But we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye now.